Alright, I'm about to pop this open, so I'm going to put my respirator on here in a minute. Just another word about safety on this. They're calling this ceramic, and I believe that's just KO Wool, I think, is a brand name of ceramic blanket. And again, the handling the fibers, opening it, do it gently, I think in a well-ventilated area, and again, with personal protection, you should be okay. I know a lot of people that use this stuff, although I've actually seen a lot of build videos with propane forges where they just use this and leave it and then put a fire brick in there on top of it, and it just really makes me cringe because, again, you only get two lungs, and this is one of those things that can do damage if you don't treat it with respect. The instructions actually say once you're done, you should strip your clothes off and launder them separately, which I may or may not do. I don't plan on getting really agitating with this or moving it around a bunch. I believe if I open everything slowly and treat it with kid gloves, it shouldn't produce that much. Like I said, my research before indicated most of the issue was when it got hot was when the fibers would actually be more likely to break off. So I'm going to respirator up and you won't have to listen to me talk for a minute.
Alright folks, I know this probably sounds real funny, but trust me, I'm not your father. Don't even get that idea in your head. I am not your father. Even if your name's Luke, I'm not your father. Alright folks, sorry about that. I forgot to mix up the rigidizer first. So, that's done. Now we're going to get the blanket out and spritz it. Nice thing is it comes with the hole already cut for the burner to sit through, which makes it kind of nice. Takes a little of the guesswork out. Alright, it's time to stuff this bird. Let's get her done. You can see I've got a reasonably even coat. It said to use all 16 ounces, and by gar I did. So, I see what's going on. That makes sense. Ah, get in the hole. There we go. Whoa, what the? There we go. I think. Alright, you see what we end up with. I got the, you can kind of see the burner hole where the tube comes through anyway, but alright, I'm going to set this by the wood stove. I'll be right back.
Howdy, it's been about 2 days. I filmed the first segment of this build video on Tuesday afternoon and uploaded it either late Tuesday night or in the wee hours Wednesday morning. When I checked the forge yesterday, it didn't feel dry enough to proceed, so I guess my third method of drying wasn't all that great either. Although, you know, if I'd have just left it over here in the bench, it'd still probably be needing more dry time. So anyway, I've gone ahead, I'm getting ready to do the first coat of refractory. This is 1.25 pounds mixed in or measured on the kitchen scale. I have 5.6 ounces of water, which I will mix in with the refractory. I'm looking for a sour cream consistency according to the directions. One tip, I'm not going to show you mixing it because it's kind of boring, but one tip I thought of: if you have to borrow the good kitchen scale from a significant other in order to avoid domestic disharmony, I thought this was a pretty good idea. Kept all the dust from the refractory off and from the shop and whatever. So if you have a shop and you don't have your own good accurate measuring device like this, you have to borrow one. You might want to think about this. Alrighty then, I got my goop mixed up. I'd say it's pretty close to a sour cream, a thick one anyway. Oops, where am I? There we are. Hey! Newbie here, first day on the job, sorry folks. Anyway, I don't know how well you can see the consistency, and I'm going with the brush. I've seen guys use their hand. Nothing wrong with that, but I'm hoping this will give me a more even coating. Now this is going to sound kind of odd because they very much stressed, make sure the refractory or the rigidizer is dry. And see, now mine retained a lot of the red color. According to the directions, oops. The red color of the rigidizer is not an indicator of the blanket being dry. It could retain the color after being dried out. Well, it certainly feels stiff and dry to me, so I'm going with it. Like I said, 1 pound 4 ounces refractory, 5.6 ounces water. Stir for 5 minutes. Be real careful when you're stirring this because the refractory is very fine. If you go at this like you're trying to whip up some eggs, some scrambled eggs, you're going to have powder everywhere. And breathing it, which I don't know specifically with this, but it ain't air, so it probably shouldn't be in your lungs. Anyway, so now, this is the odd part. They made such a big deal about make sure the blanket's dry, because if it's not, steam can come out in the heating process and cause the refractory to poof. The first step before apply the refractory is to spray a light coating of water on the blanket. And you think, well, gee, you just made such a big deal about making sure everything was dry. Well, the reason being is if there are any dry spots in the rigidizer, I suspect there's two reasons for this. A, if you have dry spots, it will absorb the water out of the refractory too fast and you'll get cracks. The other thing I kind of wonder about is if you spray that with water, if there are any dry spots, you've got ceramic blanket exposed, would the spraying down of water keep your little fibers from coming out? Probably would. I mean, they're going to be wet down, so they may be loose, but they shouldn't float around and get in your lungs. So anyway, let's get a little spritzing going here and get some stuff on here. The one frustration with some instructions like this is, you know, my light coating might be heavier than yours, or lighter, or vice, you know, whatever. So I don't know what good, but I guess I don't really know how they'd express that, unless they were to figure out how many, you know, like it takes 1.25 ounces to cover everything to the way we think it should be covered. In that case, I guess they could do it, but. Alrighty, people. Coat 1 is on. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ended up running out of refractory before I ran out of forge. So I ended up mixing up just a little. Oh, it was probably shot glass and a half full of powder and water, and I just mixed it by eye because I already knew what consistency I was looking for. And you can see it's coated. I'm not saying I'm super happy with it. The brush seemed to work pretty good. The problem I was having is the blanket wasn't exactly flat and even. There are little dips here and there, and I was trying not to. I needed to cover them but not fill them in, because then you've got thick spots of refractory and it'll take forever to dry. So had to kind of split the difference on that. And I'm assuming it was kind of my fault. I don't know if I didn't spray enough water on the blanket, because I was having some pulling issues too. Or maybe I sprayed too much. But anyway, first coat's on. I'm going to put this sucker by the wood stove. I actually debated on that, because you really don't want this to dry too quickly because it will crack. But yeah, one of their drying methods in the instructions is to hook the gas up and fire it up. So, although I think they're talking about, you know, after this is mostly dry or something like that. But anyway, so coat 1 is on. The build continues, and we'll look for you in the next one, folks. I appreciate you watching. Thank you.